Hey, welcome to an all-new episode of Flippin' Thru. I'm over here, and my name is Matt Hall.
Hey, I'm over on the right, and my name is Andrew Taylor.
And today we are going to look at, this is kind of going to be a two-part episode. Back in the day, you could get this official survival guide.
Ooh.
And I thought this was like the shrink wrap on the cover, like puckering up.
Yeah.
But that's actually just some light effect.
Oh, that's cool. Just tried to be like in line with the rest of the flashing light kind of thing.
Yeah, they did the best they could. So back in the day, the Prima Games official strategy guide, this one's a survival guide. You could get this for Alan Wake, and it came paired with this, which is Alan Wake Illuminated, which we'll get into in the next video.
Okay.
So these two books came together as a pair. It's hard to find them as a pair today.
So this is a guidebook, and that's like a making of, kind of?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you get a lot of guidebooks when you were growing up a gamer?
No, well, I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, which had,
Chunks of...
yeah, and sometimes full layouts of games. They did the maps and everything, for the Super Nintendo games usually.
In my gaming youth, guides were like... Nintendo Power obviously still existed, but that wasn't really as popular. None of my friends had Nintendo Power, but I had a bunch of friends that anytime they got a new game, they would also have the guide.
Yeah, these were pretty ubiquitous back in the day.
And I remember even as a kid, that's when Game Facts started being a thing, and but it was kind of unreliable. You information about games on the internet in those early days were it was sparse sometimes, especially unless somebody did it, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So official guides were your main resource, and it was awesome to get them.
Especially, even nowadays, I was playing Soldier of Fortune recently for PC, and I looked up a walkthrough because I was curious about some of the details of the level, some of the locations and everything.
Okay.
And especially some of the older games that haven't been re-released and revisited, ad nauseum, were written in a very particular tone because one guy did it. He's an eccentric because he's someone who's willing to write an entire guide for, a PC game.
And do all the research, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so he was like, I call this one City Part 2. I don't care where it actually takes place. I was like, oh, great.
Cool.
He had his own shorthand for everything in the game. Anyway, this is not something where someone took too many liberties with the information presented, but they did take a lot of liberties in how they presented the information.
Yeah, so usually it can get kind of dry with
it's
traditional
very clinical
guidebooks. They'll just be like, go, jump on the lever, and whereas this, you said it took a different approach.
Right. So it opens up with the Bright Falls map that's inside of the game. We saw that when we looked at the special edition.
Which the map is actually kind of important to some of the deeper lore if you want to examine that.
Yeah. So imagine, if you will, a beautiful landscape of pine barrens, tumbling rock waterfalls, and the ever-present fresh dampness in the air.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Then coat the atmosphere in a faint shroud of menace. This is the setting that established thriller writer Alan Wake witnessed during his fateful stay last September.
Now, Matt, I did not know that Alan Wake wrote Thriller.
Yes, well, he has a writing credit on it. It's a shared credit.
Oh, okay.
So this is the author, and they are tumbling rocks outside.
Man, I'm hungry.
So this is written by David S. J. Hodgson, which I think, if we go to the back, is his actual name.
That's a real guy, and he looks like me.
Yeah, and so he writes strategy guides.
All right.
But he's writing this from Watery, Massachusetts, which is the neighboring town to Bright Falls. And they mention, Bright Falls has Deer Fest, Watery has a Moose Fest. And so
nice.
The guy is immediately getting into character.
So you mean to say that he is presenting this entire guide as
a writer from Watery,
like an in lore, in canon kind of guide, instead of just being directly to the audience, jump on the mushroom,
Right.
It's wow. Okay, so this is cool.
So it says here. Wait.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say there's an overview of all of the locations, but previous to that, up here...
Yes, so still with the forward, I think this is interesting. Wake's progress needed to be annotated, his activities scrutinized, and his journey retold. With access to copious background notes, historical documents, and interviews with those Wake touched, we are able to piece together the man's actions during the fateful few weeks. Additional source materials gathered in the field, including information from other investigations, we are particularly indebted to Clay Stewart, Barry Wheeler, Sheriff Sarah Breaker, Pat Main, Jorg Newman, Shane White, Tony Elias, Brandon Morris, Chris, and I think this is getting into actually the development team, some of these people.
Yeah, or that's like his special thanks.
Helps create perhaps the most comprehensive guide to what went on mentally, physically, and metaphysically during Alan Wake's vacation to Bright Falls, Washington State. Those seeking horror must plunge into the darkness before they can see the light. It is hoped this book bears the torch you need. So it's they're referencing the Alan Wake files, referencing in-game characters, and basically it's like, hey, everyone knows some shit went down with Alan Wake, and the Alan Wake files says as much.
Right.
That was a in-universe, sort of investigation into what happened. So is this, where they, are working to recreate what he went through.
But it seems like this gentleman has a larger well of resources to compile these notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like you were saying, there is, we're not going to read every goddamn inch of this because it's, you'll see, it gets more and more dense as you go in.
Yeah.
But I've been reading through it, and it is very, very, very in depth.
I wanted to see this little like Bright Falls pamphlet that we have here. It shows that image of, remember the red chair? This is like a screenshot from the game. I remember finding the red chair, and I think there was a coffee thermos there, just overlooking like a nice cliff or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's neat. What a weird thing they threw in, but it's cool that they use that again.
Yeah, and it says the front cover of the Bright Falls tourist pamphlet. It's cool. They're creating more in-game lore with this.
Yeah.
So we have more of these locations. Here, the basic tenets to live by. These are your, character mechanics.
Ooh.
Talks about more of the game mechanics here. Movement, healing, objects, light-sensitive text, the manuscript pages, collectibles. Talks about the guns. And I like here that, they're presenting this as if it's an advertisement. I don't know. I think it's
that kind of theming goes a long way.
Yeah, and is Track, Kill, Then Eat magazine one of the magazines you find in the game? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I do remember the Chair magazine.
Yes.
And I just began playing Control, and I found a gaming magazine that just called Game. I really like the in-universe magazines.
Of course, we have the Energizer batteries here.
Nice, looking
Has
good.
more and more of these weapons.
I love these. He clearly had access to at least PNGs of the fully rendered elements from the game, so that's pretty cool. Look at all we got a little. Oh, that's sick! This is like a listing of a car, shop, whatever they're called.
Yeah, salvage and used cars.
Dude, that's cool.
So the whole thing is presented with so much detail and creativity. It's bonkers.
It's another method of using the product placement stuff, brand integration, as you could say. We have Ford and Lincoln here. That's sick. That's really cool.
I don't think I realized that there were actual cars in the game.
I didn't, and I'm willing to bet they look a lot better than the more generic ones. They're a lot more these nice. Oh, okay. Well, that's Alan and Alice's car that they drive.
Oh, right.
It has that little digital panel on the inside, which in 2010 was a big deal.
And just I know I'm gonna get this out of the way now, but the fact that there's header, the logos, the whole art design of this flyer, text, paragraphs for each thing.
Yeah.
Find text here, another line of text here, text at the bottom. They packed so many different layers of just flavor into this, where it's and there's little in jokes all throughout here and everything.
I was gonna say I'm trying to skim through this fine print down here, and yeah, it seems goofy.
Yeah,
but reading it is worthwhile.
Yeah, this is the most creative player's guide I've ever seen.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you believe me, but I haven't actually read every other single game guide in the world. I've been trying, but I gotta say this one has to stand probably in a very small circle of titles that kind of take on a similar.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of games lend themselves to that kind of world building.
No.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
It's so bizarre because like if you told me like before I began Alan Wake that you could buy this guidebook and there'd be a lost file on a manuscript written by Alan Wake, the detail or like this Bright Falls Sheriff Department what are they called, write up or whatever, I'd be like, wow, that sounds
suspect evaluation narrative.
Yes, I'd say, wow, that sounds very boring. But like once you get into it, all that stuff becomes so incredibly compelling.
Right, and I can't say for sure about this, but this doesn't. I mean, this. I'm not sure how directly involved Remedy was with this. They probably approved it, but I'm imagining that in large part, like the author of this got free reign just to go pretty wild on, writing all these materials.
Right. And even, especially more so in Control, now that I began playing that game, all the memos that you find in that game, they all have these little like indicators down here of like, whatever the proper coding is for that, particular form. I'm terrified to look more into that because I'm sure there is consistent like form and like formulas with all of that stuff.
Oh yeah. We have here the
cast and
basically
crew
the cast with their ages, although we don't know the age of Mr. Thomas Zane.
That is unknown. How old is Mr. Wake? He's not in here.
I see like 36.
36. Oh yeah, I would say right here, yeah.
31.
31. Hey, a year younger than Mr. Matt, right?
I don't know. I don't remember how old I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm between 31 and 34.
Okay. That's weirdly interesting to know their ages, even though you can kind of tell by what they look like.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is this canon? Like, are these their actual ages? I'm
imagining if there probably is the information to check out all their dates of birth. Either the author had access to that resource, or maybe you could piece it together from just little pieces
not for everybody though.
Probably not for everybody.
I mean, for Birch,
I don't even remember. Oh, Birch is the gorilla.
He's the orderly there. Yeah. Nurse Sinclair, Ranger Rusty. What I thought was interesting is they don't have the photo of Mulligan, but Mulligan is a character that shows up in the comics, and you do get to see his face, and he's also in Bright Falls, I think you mentioned.
Then we have Louis C.K.
I don't remember. Oh,
Mr.
Rudolph Lane. No, Mr. Randolph.
Who are you talking about?
Did you say Mr. Rudolph?
Yeah, I meant to say Randolph.
Oh, because there's also Mr. Rudolph Lane, who's the painter.
Oh, okay. There's not too much. They also don't have Thornton.
Yeah.
No photo of him.
But you do hear them over the radios.
Yeah, and you see Mulligan and Bright Falls. You see both of them in the comics, but maybe they're just trying to. They don't want to give them an exact identity just yet.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Or it didn't matter.
Yeah. So, this is more game information. I like that it has all of the manuscript pages kind of like typed out here.
Yeah. Wow.
There is a sort of, stat list, a checklist for the different collectibles in the game. There's a nice legend here for, reading the maps and stuff. Also, they use this Telly Times section here to talk about the television shows that you'll see throughout the game.
Okay. I'm checking out this Zune that we have over here, right here. And I'm trying to, are those real songs?
Those are all the songs that appear in the game.
Oh, okay. Oh, these are like...
With the radio songs that Pat Main plays.
Oh, all right. Those missed me largely on my first playthrough. And only playthrough so far. Until the remaster coming out October 5th. It's probably already out by the time you're seeing this video.
It's true. So,
Man, look at this.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Now
so,
look at this.
Wake left the car in a state of agitation. He staggered forward, and then highlighted text. Toward a rough-hewn wood pole, he gazed up into the illuminating glow of a lamppost. All of the highlighted text is basically now go down the corridor and take a left to pick up this item. The stuff that would be the actual, sort of
the meats.
Just and the actual instruction and the actual guide is all the highlighted text, and then everything else is just like, creative prose that it's framing, the actual
Man.
instructions.
That kind of audience like advocation and quality of life and attention to detail is it's just so like I just respect that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this one's really funny. Wake moved back to the driver's side and tried to use the car. But
Listen, there's probably some corners that you find yourself in when you're trying to take on this project, and he did his damnedest.
Yeah, and it does say when you go to use the car, like this text does come up. The radiator had broken. Those rocks are so fucking loud.
The radiator is breaking outside right now.
The radiator had broken when I'd hit the hitchhiker. The car wasn't going anywhere. So it includes, the different commands and everything, and the all the flavor text in the game. But it's also like, it's not telling you like go to the car and press B to see this optional like text.
Yeah.
It's like it's written in a way that like suggests the instruction without being like
Go here,
incredibly over.
do that, press A.
It's very funny that they fucking made this.
Yeah.
it's hard to believe.
And I think you mentioned this earlier, but we're on which page?
25.
This is page 25. There's like
It's
at
about
least
250 pages.
Yeah, and it looks like, I'm assuming it's consistently this dense. That's amazing.
Yeah. This is we're still just in the tutorial section here.
I feel like you could read this. Like,
yeah,
you could just
it's a
read it
novelization of the game in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing is written, even the New York Tattler hadn't been this severe in their savaging of the fall of Alex Casey, and Barry had used all the swear words he could remember after reading that review. But cursing at critics wouldn't help this at all. Or wouldn't help this time. I don't know what I'm reading there.
It won't help at all.
A breeze was whipping up as Alan edged toward a second information sign. On it, a man who looked very much like the author had gone missing. And that's talking about the missing posters that you see very early on in the game.
Of Alan, yeah.
Yeah, which I can't confirm this. Some of the phone numbers that you see in the game for a time were active lines that would you'd get some sort of like in character like voice message back. And I've heard people mention that, but I have not ever heard a recording of those calls. I'm not sure if that's just like if that's legit or if people are just like, yeah, I think like 10 years ago I called the number and heard something.
That sounds like a lot of potential. Maybe they didn't, maybe they did.
Yeah.
We should try calling them all.
Well, people have tried since, and they're no longer active. So again, I don't want to sit here and read every single goddamn line in this thing, but
fucking. I'm sorry, this boggled my mind. At the end of American Nightmare, and this isn't really a spoiler, you see a poster.
Yeah.
And apparently, Matt told me that it's in towards the beginning of the first Alan Wake game.
Yeah, it's in the cabin, and I think there's also one on one of the bulletin boards in the beginning of the game as well.
Man, I totally missed those entirely. My first time playing through the game, I've said this before, I didn't know what to pay attention to, and I was just kind of playing it like you would normally. And there's just so much stuff that now thinking about it in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed something that became so significant.
Yeah. Well, and it becomes even more significant deeper into Control.
Oh.
So, another interesting thing is using these aerial shots to develop small maps of some of the areas.
That's pretty cool. Because you never really get a true overhead view like that. There isn't really a map in game.
It's also pretty crazy that they're using 3 pages to explain, 2.5 we'll say, just the opening cinematic, basically, you know? It's really in-depth. So here we have the Oh Dear Diner menu.
I bet there's stuff you could take out of this. Taken to Heaven. The Pat Main's got his own cupcake.
Yeah, you can tell the author was having a lot of fun making, little in-jokes here.
Mm-hmm. We got some more music on the Zune. Is that a Zune officially? I never had one. That looks like...
It looks like what I remember a Zune to look like, but also what that if that's not a scroll wheel kind of thing, that middle button looks very unwieldy. I don't know.
It was to my memory.
I haven't seen one since the mid 2000s, I don't think.
Yeah, neither have I, but I watched a cool review about them.
So, I mean, just, you know.
Sorry, a small tangent. They had a function that was like, it was timed, like peer-to-peer file sharing, where you could like, hey man, did you get that new Behemoth song? Like, no, is it cool? And anybody that was in your proximity, you could send it to them for like 3 days, or they had a limited amount of listens. They called that function squirting. So you could squirt your favorite song to your friend. They had 3 days to listen to it, and then it would disappear from their records.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Something I didn't notice, speaking of squirting, was there's a photo of Thomas Zane in the cabin, in the diver suit.
Oh, what, and the photo is him outside of the cabin?
Yeah.
In the
At the diver's
suit.
aisle, I think, getting ready to go down.
Man, okay.
Which I totally missed that.
Yeah, as did I.
And I never really bothered to take note of the titles of the Thomas Zane books, but I probably should.
I read them all because I was like, I wonder what these are, and then but I didn't know to pay attention to that.
I didn't memorize them or anything.
It's so funny going into Alan Wake and any game in this, it seems any game that made by Remedy, and just kind of thinking that everything, the background is all just regular potpourri or whatever, when in reality it's has these gigantic significances in the story.
Nice map.
It's a good looking map right there.
So this is just going on and on. You got the departure manuscript pages in between. The Bright Falls Light and Power logo indicates where you're finding the caches of ammo and items that you need. Mm-hmm. This stuff is pretty wild.
That's not in the game. This is an article, like a newspaper clip of Seeing the Taken, dated 1970. Wow! Oh my God! Written by Cynthia Weaver.
Yeah, and
what
is this? This might be, if this isn't in the Alan Wake files, there's something very similar to this in the Alan Wake files.
I'm still like halfway through that. That's very dense as well.
Oh, and those are the coffee thermoses. Let's tell you where those are. The Night Owl Pat Main's got his own little thing here.
I gotta say that one thing. If we could flip back for one moment, one thing that we praised the Alan Wake files for was not using the same like little cutouts here with the same coffee stain. But I understand.
Yeah. Well,
they'd have to do like 70 of them for.
Yeah, I think Alan Wake file had like 12 of those, not 250 pages worth.
So you're forgiven this time.
What I think is interesting here is, are these suggesting these are the original air dates of the Night Springs episodes?
Oh man, it's so difficult to not go on tangents. But from something that I'm really in the first couple hours of Control, they've suggested, and they suggested this a little bit in American Nightmare, that TV channels and shows and that they, that they produce and air have some sort of power in the I'll get my hands in there. They have some sort of power on the world that is yet to be fully explained to me. So it's interesting to see what significance those initial air dates may have in relevance to certain events that took place around that time.
Right, but it is hard to say if this is legit or not. Also,
1994, yeah.
With in the book, I don't know how much of this he made up and how much he didn't.
Right.
He being the author. I like they credit the photo of Alan's office to Alice Wake.
That's cool. Interesting that her photographs look exactly like the world around her.
Yeah, of course.
As you see it in the game, but that's still cool.
Got Alice's driver's license there because I think that's something you find in the game. Yeah, they leave it there in the car for you to find.
Yeah, as like intimidation. Now, I do think, it would be interesting because I don't know if this is a way that they could tackle it in this book because of how it's presented. Say like maybe there's I saw the wanted posters that you find in the police department I'm assuming some of those were just like staff pictures. Like games do that a lot, where they're like, "Here's a picture of Sam Lake."
I think I read that one of them is a contest winner, and that the others are presumed to be
Dead
staff.
Oh, okay. I think it seems like prevents them from sharing that kind of behind the scenes, but I also don't know if this is the exact resource I would go to see that behind the scenes content.
No, and if you do want a resource for behind the scenes content, stay tuned to the next video in this series.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I'm just kind of like flipping through here now. I mean, well...
You're doing what?
No.
Corny. That's corny.
So, you can see we're in episode 3. I mean, it goes like this for a while.
The fourth
and
and
it's
fifth.
extremely dense all the way through.
Somebody passing you by as you flip through this book and thinking that you took these in crazy highlighting notes and like, you know what I mean? Because it looks like it looks like somebody really highlighted all
Even this is interesting. It's Cynthia's checklist for the bulbs in the well-lit room.
Wow.
You know, like, I mean, the book, I'm passing by a lot of what's on here, and I got this for just a few bucks on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, you know, there are copies that were in better condition. I don't, as long as the book's not falling to pieces, I don't care if it's scuffed up.
Looks pretty dang good to me, yeah, especially on the inside.
So that sort of like world building and attention to detail, like Cynthia's little checklist.
That's bizarre, yeah.
You know, they're all throughout the book.
That's also not a piece that you would think to create unless you had an intimate knowledge of the story.
Right.
Whoa! Are those a bunch of
some of the books that appear in the bookstore
we got
here?
The Creator's Dilemma from our
Yeah.
boy Emil Hartman. We got some. We have some.
So
Casey.
is that an unauthorized biography of Alan Wake?
Oh yes, we have some Alex Casey stories. What a hoot!
I'm sure that's his Andy Rooney style books of rants and observations.
No, he's
So,
just a big owl fan.
Going
Likes
to
take
the
pictures of
end here.
him. Was there a spicy page that you're looking for us to check
No.
out?
I just wanted to show the appendices here.
My appendices is about to
So
burst.
there's a checklist here for all the achievements and everything. The little symbols for the achievements.
Couch potato. Let there be light, Carney. Oh, okay, and it shows.
There's the QR codes, or is they're digital barcodes here?
Oh yes, it shows which ones require nightmare difficulty.
Right. Yeah, because I'm thinking I will do nightmare difficulty for the remaster. Although I think you need to beat the game once to unlock it, don't you?
You may have to. Do you think you can? Shit's hard, dude.
I think I can do anything if I try enough.
Oh wow, I did get through all of the arcade levels of American Nightmare on nightmare difficulty, and yeah, it's pretty tough, but I made it through it after getting good.
Couple shots of the wilderness of Bright Falls.
Got the cool chair again.
Here's the credits for the book, which is extensive. Well, I'm not sure how many of these people work directly on this book, if they're just part of the creative teams, you know, that work on these sorts of books. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty crazy companion piece to the game, especially just in the context of like, you know, what does a strategy guide for a game need to do? You know, not much.
Say, here's the secrets. Here's how you beat it.
Yeah.
But
you know, I do appreciate, especially, you know, the ones that are a lot more in depth and do show you all the secrets and have the achievements and everything. But the fact that this is so stylized is just crazy.
I think it's really special. Like, you don't get this level of thought and care very often. There's just a lot of times that I'm sure, like, you know, every game would love to be able to create all these supplemental materials and flesh out their worlds as they, you know, as a lot of games and their stories warrant or deserve that kind of, you know, larger scope, but they can't always do it. So I think when we get things like this, like, I'm glad I'm getting to experience it now because the game entirely flew past me in 2010, and I might not have ever caught it again. So it's really cool and like special. It's just a special thing.
It is. So that is the official survival guide. Stay tuned to our next video for the companion piece to that book, which is Alan Wake Illuminated.
Whoa.
And we'll see you next time for more Waketober here on Hidden Machine.
Waketober.